Yeah, all right. So, what do you want to talk about? We're here to talk about the drama, right? You want me to catch you up on the irritating bullshit that I've been wrapped up in, but that is nonetheless incredibly, incredibly funny.
Yeah, I am actually interested because I've looked from like a distance a little bit, but I've mostly
Mhm.
avoided it because I'm gonna be honest, I've tried to avoid drama because I don't like being in drama. But I've also
What?
realized
You're a
that being
drama
in drama,
streamer.
I know, but I don't like being in it. But I've also realized
Oh,
that
oh, I
being
see.
in
I see.
drama is just kind of literally best for the channel. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into the drama. I'm trying to become more provocacious.
Yeah,
Trying
I get
to
you. I get you.
trying
Provocative,
to yeah, a little more
provocacious. Yeah,
provocative. Yeah, I'm making up new words even, okay?
yeah,
I'll
sick.
get
No,
canceled for
here I'm
that.
here for it. I'm here for it. I'm fucking here for it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
curious for a rundown of
So
things cuz I'm not fully
yeah.
caught up on the events.
I can do that for you. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, so I'm sure you know the first chapter, but for those who don't, who might be watching, sometime it was around mid-February this year, there was a sort of um, well-known falling out between myself and a streamer called Riley Grace Roshong. Um, in my opinion, it's pretty clear cut what happened in that situation. We had like Riley came onto my stream and we were talking about random stuff, and then it ended up like randomly she pitched talking about like what she called her spiciest trans take or her hottest trans take. I don't remember the exact wording there. And I was like, uh-oh. And we ended up arguing back and forth about gender self identity, which is a pretty niche concept. I tend to take a very liberal approach towards gender self identification because gender is a social construct. Gender is what we make of it. So I don't really feel like there's any reason, like there's any justification or really any ground to stand on in determining somebody else's gender for them. We can never
Yeah.
know who is really a woman or who is really a man because there's no such thing as really a man or really a woman. These are
Mhm.
very, very nebulous concepts that have changed they change from person to person, from generation to generation, from culture to culture. A person in Germany would probably describe a man very differently than somebody in China. A old man will describe what a man is very differently than a young man it would. I'm sure you know this. I'm sure what
Yeah.
Zoomers understand as manhood is completely different than what like your great grandfather who stormed the beach of Normandy like thinks manhood is. You know what I mean? Like very different
Mhm.
concepts. So because gender is a social construct, I believe that we should just take people at face value, which basically means if you say your gender is something, you go with it. You just trust somebody because there's a lot, like, again, that's the main reasoning for it, but there's other reasons as well, which is that like um it avoids this thing that happens where like I'm sure you've encountered this, where like some people will treat like non-binary as a third gender, as opposed
Mhm.
to like, no, I'm not a part of the binary. I don't recognize the binary. Where it's like, okay, you can be a man. Now we've upgraded it to the gender triangle. You can be man, woman, or non-binary, and then nothing else. The reality is, we've recognized now at this point in time in human evolution, the growth of our knowledge, the growth of our understandings of ourselves, we have an increasingly complex social environment where people can instantly get access to all kinds of information, and we've determined that actually it turns out gender is really, really, really hard to standardize, and there isn't really a good reason to do so. And so that was like sort of the crux of our argument, and it created some bad blood, really, really bad blood. And afterwards, it got really heated towards the end of it. And some people, there were mistakes on both sides. I admit this even in my original video. But what really like became the drama was not actually the fight itself, but what happened afterwards. So after we had this argument, I stopped streaming because I felt like it was a really bad conversation. During the conversation, I tried like 4 times to leave this conversation, and I was like, I don't want to do this. This feels very bad. This feels like it's going to be like a bunch of conservative vultures are going to like circle around and be like, yeah, look at the two trans people fighting. Haha, let's get them. You know what I mean? I don't like that sort of thing. And so like what happened on our side was that I was like, okay, I'm willing to let this VOD die, just let it sit there unlisted, and we'll go from there. I don't need to publish this into some sort of like drama baiting thing. But despite me saying that and communicating that to my team, and my team communicating it to her team, and her team communicating it to her, and a lot of her team agreed with that approach, saying, hey, let's leave this in the dust. Let's put this behind us. Even if you two don't like associate anymore, this was an ugly fight. There's no way this can go anywhere well. Well, unfortunately, Riley decided to go the drama path. Published a video right away about it, which was maliciously edited, removed the context of our debate and where it happened, and then immediately got invited to go on to a streamer who absolutely motherfucking hates my gut stream, which led to a deluge of endless harassment, both from content creators and from the audiences of said content creators. And it also destroyed Riley's own community. So Riley burned bridges with a number of members of her own community, some of whom are content creators, some of whom aren't. It was very unfortunate. There was a lot of hurt going around. There was a lot of internal fights. There were people that Riley had said were her friends that she said, I'm done with. And so for about 6 days, she was going around making a whole lot of claims about me, including that I had not thought about transition enough to have transitioned or to be talking on gender. This was originally said. What's that?
I didn't like that. I remember that part.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And it's funny. She's now claiming on Twitter that she never said that. We have a video of it. We showed the video of it. And while she doesn't say those words, what she actually says is Destiny says those words, says, oh, don't you think that somebody that it's something along these lines, very approximate here, but don't you think that somebody who's come this far in transition would have actually thought about gender, to be able to, just feels like she hasn't thought about gender ever. And it's like, it seems like she should have, which is a pretty offensive thing to say, in my opinion, especially given that, in that segment that they were watching, I opened up about how deeply I had. I was very, very honest about, the shit that I went through. Some of my stories, and but for those who don't, I had a pretty hard early transition. My parents really, really, really did not accept that, and it was very difficult for me. And I'd opened up just before the part that they were watching, and they go on to say, oh, I don't think she's ever thought about gender and all this stupid shit. And Riley responds and says, yeah, that's basically how I think about it as well. So the idea that she didn't sign off on that she didn't, repeat that she didn't say yes to that is completely false. And that's where things start to get really hairy this time around. So there was this bad blood. It led to a whole bunch of fucking bullshit coming my way. Of course, my channel was really, really small at that time. Smaller than it is now. I'm still not that big of a channel. I have a lot more viewers than I used to, which is fantastic. But at the time, it was this channel that I looked at the VOD a day or two after it went up, and there was over 100,000 views of that VOD. And that was just on Destiny's side of things. And then, of course, Riley was going on all these others. So tons and tons of people were coming into contact with this message that I'm a trans person who's a transphobe, who's never thought about gender, who's that I'm saying things about Riley that I never said. And it just got out of control, quite literally a cancellation, And so it was very, very, very frustrating to me. And I basically said well, I didn't even say this. I even said that I would keep the door open to fix things up with Riley. But she went on other people's platforms to say that she would never resolve things with me or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's your right. You're entitled to that. I just wish you would stop fucking lying about me. So things have been quiet a little bit for a while. And Riley's been up to some other interesting things in the meantime, calling a survivor of child sexual assault a pedophile without evidence, which happened multiple times. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I can give the context behind that one because I am aware of it. But for those that don't know, basically, actually, do you want to give the rundown of it? Because I imagine you might actually know more than me. Because I don't know the context leading up to it.
I can give the rundown of that. This is this is a side chapter, because to be fair, this isn't directly involved in my drama. It's just another content creator. Well, okay, it kind of was actually, so whatever. Some people may know of this really interesting month that happens every year in June. It's called Pride Month. It's about, gay people being gay, being here, being queer, and you got to get used to it, It's Pride Month. It's a pretty important time of the year. And this, basically every single Pride, there is a cycle of discourse that happens that's talking about kink at Pride. And Kink has had a presence at Pride for a very long time. You know, people think of like the like leather daddies, you know, like a dude with like a leather cap and like a leather shirt, maybe he's wearing some bling and he's walking around, you know, kind of Freddie Mercury looking guy. Yeah, that's like the one of the historical presences of Kink has always been a part of Pride because in the past, there's a reason for this. There's a very specific reason for this. Because in the past, being gay, being trans, being a lesbian was considered a deviance, was considered sexual deviance. And as a result, as a part of the gay rights movement, and as a part of the LGBT movement, there has been a criticism of the stigmatization of so-called deviants. And the argument, of course, being that there is no harm being done by somebody wearing an outfit. There's no harm being done by someone being having a kinky relationship. Nobody is hurt by that, and that we shouldn't, you know, stigmatize people just because they're different. Because throughout many points of history, all kinds of things. I mean, I'm sure you probably know this, Zan, but I think in your home state of Florida, until like the 80s, it was illegal to fuck your wife in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the
Yeah.
sort of shit that your wife, like you, as a straight person, you couldn't even do it. And the
There's some
fact that I
really
have to,
wild Florida laws. Like I think you're allowed to fuck a porcupine as long as it's a Tuesday. Like there's really weird Florida laws.
yeah, there are weird laws, but I mean, the thing is, sodomy laws like that also targeted straight people, were not uncommon. Like many states still have them on the books. In fact, there was a whole thing about in Pennsylvania. We talked about this um earlier this year on my stream. There was a law that was upheld this year by the Republicans that is a small part of the legal code that isn't used very frequently, but they upheld the portion that lets you discriminate against gay people and that says that gay marriages aren't like valid in the state for a lot of things, which is like that's extremely fucked. Now, that law isn't used very much, which is probably why there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare about it. But you can see that these sort of laws are being upheld. That this idea of deviance, whether you're harmful or not, but just being a degenerate, is used as a weapon against to marginalize people. And so, yeah, so that's the story behind like the Kink at Pride, like why it comes up every year. This year, it got really bad, and there was just an absolute fuckload of discourse about it, which I won't get fully into. But at one point, there was a rather, in my opinion, ridiculous hypothetical that was brought up, and the hypothetical goes as follows. Okay, I hope everybody can follow along with this. So, a person walks outside, and they're wearing no shoes. Okay. Yeah, I know. Here we go. I know. So a person walks outside and they're wearing no shoes, and they walk in front of a child, and the first question is that child has that child's consent been violated by walking barefoot in front of the child? And you can answer that or not.
I'm aware of that question. I understand like where it leads because obviously many people find feet sexual, and you know obviously you could draw a comparison between that and breasts, for example, because people find breasts sexual, people find feet sexual. So should it be considered inappropriate to show either of them around a child? And I completely understand the argument, and I think there's probably a very deep philosophical, strong philosophical argument you can make that this entire moral panic that's been built up mostly by the right around the Kink and Pride thing is just completely
by the right,
completely bullshit. Like I think the discourse that has mostly been started by the right, or even entirely, is pretty bullshit. But
I mean, every year. Like just to touch on that for real quick before we move on, like just to point out on that one, every single year there is almost the same images, like literally the same images will be circled. One of them is like a picture of like a kid in a guy in a dog mask, and like a kid is
from a leather thing though. That was from like a leather event.
Yeah,
so that was
exactly. That was from Folsom. That's from a not an adults own like it's not literally adults only because obviously it's held in a public place so people can bring their kids in if they want to. But it's a event that is not like advertised to children. It is advertised to adults. Now, some parents bring their kids. Yeah. Do I think that's a great idea? Whatever. That's a fucking different discussion. Probably not. I certainly, if I was at that event, I wouldn't fucking want kids there. But if somebody chooses to do that, that's a completely different discussion. This isn't a problem with Kink at Pride. This is a problem with a parent bringing a kid to an event that's not appropriate for children. Anyway, so those same images get cycled around every single year. The same images, and they always lie, and they say this is at a pride event, this is at a pride event, this is at a pride event, this is gay people like attacking your children and stuff. Look at how disgusting this is. Look at this pedophilia. Look at this degeneracy. Look at this deviancy. Do you see what it leads to? Do you see what it leads to? Gay people lead to children. And it's the moral panic, exactly like you said. So I just wanted to point out that like literally the same images are used every year by right-wing sources with the same lies, and it starts the discourse every year. And if you talk to older gay people, they will tell you they've been through this too. Same cycle.
Yeah, I think the main concern that a lot of people have, or at least the main thing that stood out to me with the whole Kink at Pride discourse, you probably noticed I didn't get involved at all. I don't think I even threw my hat into the ring at all.
That's fair.
I think the main concern is that it's such an easy. There's a reason why the right started it, okay, and why they're so dishonest about it, because it's so easy for them to use any argument from the opposition on the left to make it sound creepy, right? It's very easy to take any argument from the left-wing side of this entire discourse and make it sound like, oh, you're a pedophile, you're in favor of kids being witnessing sex acts in public and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's what's being argued for. I'm pretty confident that's not what it is. But I guess the thing that concerned me most was the optics of this whole thing. All I could think during that whole discourse is like, but we could just be arguing instead that this isn't like a huge issue. It's not extremely common, rather than like defending the idea of it. Because for a lot of people, the concept of anything sexual happening around children, you will never be able to get through to them with that. Like, you just can't. And I feel like that's just an area where it's almost a losing battle for us.
I understand like people's concern, quote unquote, there, but let me just tell you, the optics, quote unquote, have never been on the side and never will be on the side of queer people ever.
That's true.
And so like I don't really care if a bunch of like uptight Americans who are psychotic about sex. Americans have have an unhealthy relationship with sex, truly, like through and through. Americans are simultaneously obsessed with and disgusted by sex. We freak out about it all the time. It's ridiculous. There are huge double standards. So with all that in mind, like I don't think that like the offended opinions. Remember, again, it's all good and well to talk about the optics when you know, like when you don't have the history that less than like 20 years ago it was like severely stigmatized and even criminalized to be gay in public. To show your gayness in public was basically impossible in like the 90s and early 2000s, and before that it was even worse. And so like I don't care. Queer people are bad optics. That's the reality. The reality is that like if we play the optics game, then we will just have to admit that like it's bad to have queer people be visible because some people will hate us, and I don't care about those optics. There are situations where I think like an optical analysis can be useful, but this isn't one of them. And then secondly, with regard to the kink thing, like it isn't just a niche issue. Like kink is actually a massive thing. Like it's huge. It's not intrinsically sexual. There is a lot of sexuality. What's that? There is a lot of sexuality involved in it, but it isn't inherently sexual. And
I talked to Crafter Lula about that. If you've ever talked to them before.
Oh, I haven't. No, but I'm familiar with them. Yeah. Okay. And then also there's a sort of a third angle of this, which is that there is an underlying philosophical question, which is what is the difference between a sex act and something that is like sex themed or a reference to sex. So let me explain the difference between this. So the first example, like a sex act, is like you get a hand job, okay? Somebody grabs your dick, okay? That's a sex act. You are doing something sexual to someone else with someone else, you know? And there are many types of sex acts. But then there are other types of sort of sexual things. Like, for example, I have a hat here somewhere. It's in the background. It's a hat with bananas on it, and it says Fudanari on the front. So it's like got bananas, you know, it's like making a joke about, you know, what Fudanari is, right? Like dick girls. You know?
Yeah. I'm very aware.
It's a hat like that. Now, this hat right here, here you go, it's right here. Fawn is wearing it right now. It says Fudanari on it, which is a sexual reference. It's a sexual joke a little bit, but is it a sex act? If I go outside and somebody sees my Futanari hat and they're offended by Futanari's existing, are they in the right to say that, like, I didn't consent to seeing to knowing the concept of Futanari exists or being reminded of their existence? And of course, the answer to that is, I would hope, that's absurd. That, like, conversations of consent don't work very well when you're not talking about acts, because consent is about what you do to one another and how you engage with one another. And it's not really, you're leaving the realm of consent when you start talking about thoughts and desires, and when you start talking about representations. So, for example, another example of this that is a little more extreme that sometimes gets this kicked off is, like, if you have leather daddies walking around at a pride festival. So you have leather daddies all walking around, and they're wearing leather, and that's their kink, and it's cool, but they're not engaging in a sex act. They're just referencing something that's important to them. They're not fucking anyone. They're just dressed up in a thing that they like. That they might like to do sex at another time in that outfit, but they're not doing it there. They are making a simple reference to something that is important to their identity. And guess what? So is hand holding. That is, like, like cis straight couples often hold hands when they fuck each other. When a dude's fucking barreling into his wife and has her in the fucking mating press and he's grabbing onto her hands like this, they're hand holding. And they also hold hands in public. And them holding hands in public is a reference to the fact that they have a relationship. Fuck, kissing in public is a pretty explicit sign that you're in a sexual relationship, most likely, with somebody else. So these are all things that reference sex acts, but that aren't sex acts. So, like, I don't, so there, this is where the philosophical part comes in, where it's like, okay, if we say, yeah, well, those guys are kind of weird. They're wearing, like, the leather suit, and that's kind of weird. So we don't like that in public. But everybody else who isn't quote unquote weird can do their thing, their sex thing, their sex references in public. We're just going to pick on this one that happens to be strongly associated with the gay community. And those are the guys that can't be public at all about anything, or else they're criminalized. That's fucked. That's deeply fucked, in my opinion. So the reason why I take a firm stance on this particular issue is because I think it not that it's a matter of like slippery slope or anything, but just that no one deserves to have that. We have a double standard. A sex act is not the same thing as a sex reference. A sex reference is not the same thing as a sexual thought or a sexual feeling. So the reason why this is getting so nitty gritty, but the reason why I want to explain this is because there was a portion, the foot argument that I mentioned before, that got very out of control. And some people were pushing back on the idea. This one, basically RGR and RGR's girlfriend, had a particular statement that said that if you are barefoot in public and it's because your partner is turned on by you being barefoot and a child is there, you have committed a sex act on a child, which I think is insane. That is, to me, that is an insane claim. Now, another streamer that some of you might know by the name of Doe responded to that and said, I think that's a ridiculous claim. It said, like, oh, like, don't, like, how can you say that? Like, you don't even know how to get into people's brains. There's no way to enforce this. There's no way you can even possibly know this. That's an absurd standard. And the response that came back was that RGR went on a stream for multiple hours and called Doe a pedophile. And Doe is a survivor of severe, child sexual assault. And there has never been a retraction. There's never been an apology. And all of this was sort of fallout from, like, a second-hand drama of me even engaging on the fucking Kink at Pride thing. It's very frustrating. And so I've been frustrated with the way that this individual, RGR, has engaged with me in the past, has lied about me, has lied about people that I care about, and other people who I consider professional contacts. And it really came to a head just the other day, this Monday, approximately, where suddenly, out of nowhere, I'm getting tagged by Riley being like, oh, come debate me, bro, debate me, bro. And I'm like, fucking what? Like, no, you fucked me over for no reason extremely hard earlier in the year. You went and lied. You told thousands of people without evidence that I was a transphobe because you got mad at me, and you lied about what I even said. So I was very frustrated. And then I said I'd had enough. Once people were fucking pushing me on Twitter, I said, no, fuck it. We're going to go in. We're going to analyze all of this. We're going to analyze these fucking claims. We're going to take them down. I've got the receipts. And sure enough, it's very interesting because one of the things that RGR has done now multiple times is that RGR will make a claim and then delete the evidence of that claim and then claim that what she said never happened. And I consider that to be very, very manipulative. I consider that to be immoral, an immoral thing to do. And especially when it's something like this, I think that it is not only extremely hurtful, but also unprofessional and something that I will fight against to call someone a transphobe or a pedophile without any evidence. And especially somebody who, again, like I said, is themselves a survivor of child abuse. Like, that is insane to me. And so I got really mad. And just what was it, Wednesday? I titled my stream Drama Bomb. I'm going through and we're going day by day. We're going to show all the evidence that's been deleted because I took notes. I took screenshots. I have videos of me doing this in the past because it's come up multiple times in the past. This little like posse of like, it's like a subgroup of a larger community on the internet has been hounding me since February. And with all due respect, I'm fucking tired of it, you know? So yeah, it's drama, but at the same time, like, what else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just sit there? Like yesterday, while I was going over the drama, Riley Grace Roshong showed up in my chat, caps locking in my chat, screaming, debate me, watch my video. And I said, I'm not going to debate you. I have no desire to talk to you. You've been lying about me and people that I care about for months now. You've been saying some of the most disgusting things we never fucking said about you. And it's just been this one-way battle. And so she's sitting there screaming in my chat, will not go away. And somebody went through and counted. I told her no yesterday 25 times. 25 times I said no. And then finally she said, I'm going to get my stream up right now. Get in chat. And I said, go ahead, get your stream up. I did a little fakeroo on her. I did a little, you've probably seen the clip now. Yeah. Maybe I'll show it afterwards. But that was after 25 times of saying no. And I didn't tell her I was going to debate. I said, go turn your stream on. And she went and turned her stream on. And so when she turned her stream on, I waited. And then she was running the camera. And I just gave her a sales pitch. I gave her the infrared treatment. She got real mad about that. And I don't care. And then also, it's very interesting. I happen to know that like she did a big attempt at drama stream because she was trying to pick a fight with Doe last night, which was really weird. But she did like a stream last night, and she went on some impassioned rant about consent, and I had to sit there and go, wow, isn't it weird that this person is so obsessed with this idea of talking about consent in the way that she does, and yet I say no 4 times in the original conversation and 25 times in this last attempt. I say no to a conversation, and I'm still heckled. I'm still getting tweets about it. She still kept tweeting at me after it. It's ridiculous. It is a level of like unhingedness I didn't even know was possible. I didn't know that, like, I mean, I guess it makes sense to me because, like, I don't know. I've been doing this for 2 years, but I've only had like my platform be as big as it is for like a little while. But I just didn't realize that like content creators behaved like this. You know, that they would become obsessed and follow you all over the place. And like, no matter what you do, you can't get away from this person. And it's like, again, and it's not even like a passive thing. This is somebody who's actively making claims about me, who's going down and doubling down, and every opportunity they get, they bring me up and they try to say that I'm a transphobe when there's no evidence of that. And I find that very very frustrating, to say the least. And that's like that's the roundup of the overall story. And you can sort of pick into that anywhere you want or ask me any questions that you want to. But it's funny because, like, if anybody doubts my fucking story, it's all live. My videos are all up. Riley has deleted her tweets like 15 times. You can't find any old tweets. You can't find any of Riley's old videos except for ones she selectively chose to leave up on playlists unlisted, where they can't be searched directly. You have to know the playlist and go to the playlist. Just very weaselly behavior. The kind of thing that you would do if you had something to hide really bad. Like, why would you hide every single video on your channel, specifically the ones that were, that showed that she went on a 5 to 6 day like literal, just a hate campaign, talking about me for 16 hours about how I'm a transphobe, about how I've not thought about gender, talking about how I am pushing, I'm doing bad things for trans people, which is hurtful to me because I care about trans people a lot. Like, I'm trans. Like, it's something I talk about more than anything else. I talk about trans issues more than anything else. I don't know, it's just very,
Yeah.
very, very deranged behavior, and it's been hanging over me and negatively affecting my ability to like do good things online because like straight up, there's you just got to think about it like this. When those videos went out with unbelievably aggressive extreme claims not backed up by evidence, these videos went out to thousands upon thousands. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people total have watched the VODs, the videos that were originally posted, and the live streams that I was not invited to. I was never given an opportunity to tell my side of the story. It was always a one-sided thing. So with all of those, with all of that, there are thousands of people who already think that I'm the worst person on the planet, that I'm a transphobe, that I'm a bad person. When in reality, my content is the opposite of that. My content is spent challenging transphobes. Like, I spend a lot of time helping people understand gender better so that they can live a better life, so that they can live happier. Things that I struggled with when I was younger. So I don't know. It's pretty exhausting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for telling me your side of things. I actually wrote a couple of notes as I listened, just for things that I wanted to elaborate on. If you want to talk about a few parts of the story, just
Absolutely.
in particular. And I guess the first thing I wrote was the DM and RGR debate. Now, to be clear, I think you are, as far as the facts of the situation go, 100% correct in regards to the topic of that debate. But I wanted to point out, I think, sorry, my throat's really kind of like phlegmy today.
No worries.
One of the most important things for me when it comes to debating somebody or arguing against an ideology is understanding why my opponent thinks and argues the way they argue. And watching the RGR debate, the only thing that I could think of, the only thing that kept going through my mind, is that it feels like the reason why RGR is making the arguments in favor of trans people that she's making, as opposed to the arguments that you're making, your arguments being far more inclusive than hers. I think it's because it feels as though she thinks that her way of validating trans people, the more trans medicalist, true scummy kind of way, is going to be more receptive, or people are going to be more receptive to that, as opposed to the idea that our entire perception of gender and identity, for most likely, is completely incorrect. Like, gender and sex aren't the same thing. Actually, here's how it is a lot harder to sell to people than the more transmedicalist perspective. The problem is, the harder to sell people on explanation is the correct one. Even if it's not better for optics, if we're trying to educate people about this topic, then we have to go through with that. As for Riley, yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
So I can respond to that. So I do agree with you. I think that's where Riley is coming from. I just think that Riley's wrong. And the difference between my approach and Riley's approach was that when I said I think that you're wrong and here's the reasons why, Riley decided to brand me as a transphobe and go on a massive campaign convincing other people that I'm a transphobe, and I did not. I didn't even call Riley a trans medicalist because I don't really think that Riley is like strictly a trans medicalist. I think she's a gender essentialist, for sure. She literally openly said that last night. She believes there's an intrinsic portion to gender, which is, in my opinion, a step even further than what she was saying before. But I actually simply said that, I mean, now my position is that Riley is what we would call an assimilationist, which is that somebody who basically says that we need to pretty up, that gay people need to be as pretty as possible so that you can win over as many people to your side. But there's huge problems with that. First of all, we already know that, like, there are, as we can see in Britain, there are huge rifts between like the LGB alliance. You know, they drop the T. You know about drop the T, right? Well, the reason for that is the same justification that is being used here for teaching gender one way or explaining it one way, which is that, oh well, yeah, gay people are super easy to explain. You know, you love who you love, born this way. Hey, you were born this way. Hey, you know, there, super easy. Now you got it. But trans people, ooh, God, it's so hard to explain that. Maybe we can just like wait on that one. Maybe we can just, you know, let the gays. The gays are okay now, but the transes, let's wait on that one. I don't believe in that type of worldview. First of all, I actually think it's super super easy to just teach gender slightly differently. I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with people about gender and saying something like, well, men are like strong, except sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're twinks, and sometimes they're gay, and sometimes they like to dress up in women's clothes. And women are, well, you're beautiful, except sometimes they're not. It's actually just easier to say, listen, gender is basically an aspect of expression, and if you feel feminine or you feel masculine, you can pursue that, and it's okay to use whatever fucking pronouns you want. That's an easy way to explain things. It's actually easier than people give it credit for to explain the correct way. It's just that this assimilation point, this point of saying no, we have to do this or else it's hard to explain to people, is used as a bludgeon to say no, let's not ever actually challenge fundamentally gender and see if people can do it. And that's the thing. I don't think that people like Riley are like people with Riley's position are necessarily like evil or horrible. There's lots of people in my audience who probably have some form of gender essentialist argument, which I disagree with fundamentally, but I don't think that makes them a transphobe. I don't think that makes them a bad person. But for some reason, me pushing back to Riley's point makes me a transphobe. And that feels very unjust.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, and I think what came off to me, because I was only present for the very end of that debate. That's all of that debate that I've seen. I saw it live on the TV when Lonnie was watching it, and I only saw the end. And I remember, you know, kind of being sad afterwards. It's like, oh well, that kind of sucks.
I mean, I was sad.
Yeah.
Like I felt really bad. My mods can even tell you. Like I stopped stream right there and I just went straight to bed. I felt like shit after that. And that's why I didn't want to publish it. That's why like I had multiple conversations saying, "Look, guys, this was a mess. We didn't plan for this." And that's the other thing too. In the follow-up, people didn't realize it wasn't a planned debate. Riley came on in the middle of another stream that we were doing, and we were just banting for a while. The first part of that conversation was about King Kong versus Godzilla. Oh no, sorry, that was the second part. The first part was about furry rights, and then it was about Godzilla, and then randomly it became about gender. So there was this whole thing where I was like, guys, this is just a mess. Like Riley was mean, I got a little mean. Like I don't think I was as mean as Riley said. I did say a couple of mean things. I think I called her cringe at one point, which is mean. But like I never was transphobic. I never said anything that she claimed I said that was transphobic or anything. But nobody looks. Nobody cares. So, yeah. Well, you do, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I definitely care. That's why I'm here. It was all an unfortunate situation. I've been told that Riley's tweeting about me now. I'll look into all of that after stream. Hell, maybe I'll have Riley on even, and maybe the whole thing can be there's the DemonMama interview and the Riley interview, and people can look at that and look at the evidence that's out there and put it together there. My job here is just to talk to people. I
strongly encourage it.
It's really, you mentioned this earlier, and I actually think this is worth mentioning and going into a little bit. You don't really realize it until you're a content creator with any type of following, but yeah, it is really weird how many even large content creators can act kind of stalkery, right? Like I know BadEmpanada is a guy who's
Jesus
just been
Christ.
like mauling over me for a while, a good while.
Yeah. BadEmpanada, what the fuck, dude? That guy needs to fucking take a break. He also hates my guts. I didn't realize this, but you know how YouTube auto mods comments sometimes? Like it'll
Yeah.
like if there's certain swears, it'll just put them into the
His,
waiting pile.
he's been commenting on a shit ton of my videos, swearing like crazy and like
Yep.
basically threatening me, and YouTube's been auto moderating them.
Yeah.
So I just discovered that he's just screaming. Like I've gotten like at least a dozen of comments on a bunch of my videos that are just completely unrelated to him, of him saying, "You're too afraid to debate me, you stupid sack of shit," yada yada yada. And then he gets mad in the next comment that's also censored by YouTube, saying, "Ooh, now you're deleting my comments. I know you've seen this." And it's like, no, you just used a lot of very bad words in that last comment, and YouTube took you down automatically. I didn't even know.
Literally, that is literally the exact same thing that happened to me. I am like really bad about YouTube comments because I'm sure you know. I know you get a lot of negative ones. My inbox is fucking trash. Okay, my YouTube inbox is just trash. So I'm really bad about YouTube comments, and I went in to go like clear out all of the like ones that are in the hold area, the like waiting for moderator approval ones, and there was like 3 or 4 BadEmpanada messages that were just like unhinged, just like, "You fucking imperialist fucking dog, I hope you die, you piece of shit, you fucking colonizer piece of shit, white bitch." Like, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck, man? This guy is he's so fucking, I don't know what the fuck his problem is. And it's funny because like I liked his videos for a long time, but I can't watch his videos. Every time I see his face, I just think of the like horrific shit that he says on Twitter towards people like Merrick, Eris, myself, you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, you gotta, the internet is not, this is not a good interaction for you. You're like lashing out at a lot of people in really weird ways. People who have been open to talk with you. It's just, and then I have seen how he's gone after like Vosh. Didn't he have like literal literal paragraphs of Reddit posts all about Vosh, like completely unbeknownst to Vosh? Yeah, that's kind of stalkery. That's kind of fucking weird.
Oh,
That's kind of fucking weird.
he got fucking so mad after the Afghanistan thing, because as you know, I got super canceled back like earlier this year and lost a shit ton of subs after I said that if we pull out of Afghanistan this year, then probably the Taliban are going to take over very quickly. And I think I said, I think within a week the Taliban will have taken the capital. I think they'll have taken Kabul. And BadEmpanada, about a week before everything with Afghanistan happened, made a video talking about how wrong I am, and then and that the Taliban wasn't going to take it, and that even if they did, it would be good. And then a week later, the Taliban took Kabul in like 3 or 4 days. I know the music's too loud. Sorry. I was
Playing a game.
Yeah, I had Minecraft open. Anyway.
Minecraft.
Yes, Minecraft. Anyway,
he has 15 videos on decolonization, and every one of them mentions Vosh. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, how do people, like, how do you find time? How do people find time? I don't know. I don't have time. I feel like I don't have time for that. I don't know. I guess, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Wasn't BadEmpanada the guy who had like a meltdown on Sean about the, when Sean was like, you know, sometimes videos take a long time and it's okay if you can't get a huge giant research video out every single month? Like, and then BadEmpanada, I recall BadEmpanada on one of his previous accounts going on a giant tirade about how he believes that you're a scammer if you don't deliver every single month on a Patreon or more frequently, because you're scamming people out of their money, even though like you can set the terms of your own Patreon. And then I look at his channel, I'm just like maybe you're just not, maybe you just have a different standard for quality. Maybe like booting up your video and screaming Vosh into the mic and then turning it off is like what qualifies as a video for you. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, crazy fucking shit, huh? No, I think that there are some people in this whole like content creation sphere that need to get offline. Okay, like there's just some really big weirdos, but overall, like at least in my opinion and my interactions with RGR, she's been fairly reasonable. I remember she did like the manifesto on who she'll follow and who she won't, and I remember thinking that was kind of cringe. And I remember
we
obviously
read that on stream.
Yeah, and I remember obviously agreeing with you on that particular drama. So I definitely probably would take your side in the RGR debate section. But who knows? Maybe she'll want to come on later and
I mean,
push back.
I would say, you know, for you, I would tell you myself, have RGR on. I have literally nothing to be afraid of. My stuff is all public. You can watch my video on it. My full video on this particular wave of the drama with all the research, with all the screen caps and everything is coming out tomorrow. Like when this started, I played very nice, and I sat back for 6 days, and I didn't even do a response until Saturday of that week. And I regret not pushing harder earlier on to get my side of the story out there. But I'm not kidding you. No one invited me, not one person. Like until Chud Logic, which was like I think that was like late Thursday, my time, which is multiple days after. Chud Logic was the only person who reached out to me to hear my side of the story at all. And this was me going up against Destiny, Destiny, and the entire Destiny sphere were raiding in. You guys can go watch the VOD. Like we have backups of the VOD. The VOD is out there. You can even see. I think even RGR has a link somewhere to that VOD, although most of them are gone. But you can go and see the raids and shit that went in. So it was like 8 hours where she was going on and off with Destiny, and then she got a huge raid. We're talking thousands of people, all people just getting one side of the story, a side of a story that was just ridiculously slanted and just completely false. And I don't know, like again, I welcome you to have her on and have her hear her side of the story, and you know, whatever. Like I have nothing to fear. Other people have already had her on, so I'm not going to ever tell anyone to not listen to her side of the story ever, because I already know that mine stands up. That's the reason why I take receipts. That's the reason why you'll know. Anybody who's watched any of my drama mamas knows that I always bring the receipts. I always know if I'm going to make a fucking claim, I back it up, especially if it's about another person directly. So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, just so that we're clear, like I didn't have statements at the time on any of the other RGR stuff. In fact, we've had rules in our Discord. Like we're pretty strict about drama in the Discord. Like if it's ongoing in something, we'll allow discussion of it. But with particularly this drama, we were not allowing speculation. We were not allowing drama. We have the commands in our chat. We have a command on our website that I only like disabled it like a month or two ago, and it was just like it was just a exclamation RGR, which said we're not interested in perpetuating drama. We're not going to talk about it. So I decided against that. I decided that I'm not going to hold back on this particular drama after it got ignited again this week. So yeah.
I think
previous ones I didn't comment on. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. I think now's a good time to talk about what people on Twitter are particularly mad about right now as we speak. The RGR debate troll, as I wrote. I was actually there for that live. I saw it happen, and I remember the one thing I thought was, that's pretty funny, but people who don't like DemonMama on Twitter are going to have a field day with this clip, because if you aren't aware of the context, I admit it looks a certain way. It looks like you kind of baited her and said, "Oh, I'll debate you," but oh, not actually. And people have been saying that on Twitter. But what's your side of that?
Oh, I mean, the people on Twitter are never going to believe me. They do not care. Like RGR's remaining. Remember, just so that we can remember, RGR has a published set of rules for people that she will follow and that she will like allow to interact with her, and those people have to agree with her. She has what we call a echo chamber, a openly admitted echo chamber. So yeah, I don't really care. She can post that Twitch, and like 4 cringe lords will at me and be like, "How much did you charge Xander Hall?" And I'm like, "Nothing, because Xander Hall is the piece of shit." But the reality is that previous to that actually happening, again, 25 times I told Riley no. I have no desire to talk to her. It is very, very, very weird. It's extremely weird to me. Like, I get it. Riley doesn't like me, but that doesn't mean that Riley can, like, float around and just harass me and say, give me a debate, give me a debate, give me a debate on every platform. She was tweeting at me. She was caps locking in my chat, and she spun up a stream that was named after me. That is ridiculous. That is absurd. And then like people go, "Oh, DemonMama demanded $300." No, I got a good fucking laugh out of it after her dumb ass came and was cringing all over my chat and being really aggressive. Like there's literally a post up, I think Gayfesh posted it, of the white leaf logs, the like, you know, the over rustled logs or whatever of my website. I think that's the website. That does the logs, and and the logs are like straight up like just caps locking. She was spamming her, and it was her. We confirmed it was the account that I verified with her email, and she tweeted confirming that it was her. just spamming her own Twitter in there. Look at this now. I demand you look at this. Look at it. Debate me. And I said no 25 times. So I think that I'm entitled. It's really funny because like people will do all kinds of memes. Everybody and their mother has done a dunk on infrared. Everybody and their mother has turned down a debate with somebody who is way too toxic. But the moment I do it, all of a sudden, like a bunch of people crawl out of the woodwork to try and pretend that I'm like the most bad faith person ever. Yeah, apparently the rule of being DemonMama on the internet is you have to say yes to everything. No matter how many times you say no, you're going to be demonized. And guess what? I don't fucking care anymore. Like RGR's following, they're not critical thinkers. They don't care if she lies. It's very clear to me. So I wasn't with like, so I understand where you're coming from by saying like that clip can be perpetuated out of context. And quite frankly, I don't care because the only people who are going to like think that thing is super bad out of context are people who are already biased against me anyway. I was talking to much bigger people and a much bigger audience of people were people to whom I deserve to have my name cleared. You know what I mean? Like there was like 700 plus people watching my stream yesterday, or not yesterday, Wednesday, and that was nice because it was a slightly larger audience than I usually have so that I can clear my name of things that I didn't do. So, yeah. I know that some people are going to take it out of context. Some people are going to, you know, I don't know, say that I'm like an evil capitalist or whatever, but frankly, I don't care. They say all kinds of things about me. I know that like most people that I encounter online have a whole bunch of lies about me already in their head, specifically because of RGR. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I know I'm fighting an uphill battle, but whatever.
that's mostly what I actually wanted to bring up here. Actually,
Yeah.
I think the main reason why I think it's important to talk about drama like this and sort of try to platform different sides of it all around is because depending on whose side they stumble across first, random normies who don't know about the drama and aren't caught up to it are more likely to agree with whoever got to them first. So, like, if there are people who are unaware of this entire drama, they did not, watch the clips, they aren't actually caught up on what's going on, but they liked, say, insert anyone who doesn't like DemonMama, they're probably more likely to agree with whoever doesn't like DemonMama and not look into it. And I guess that's the thing that concerns, that's probably most concerning about things like this, where it can sort of be twisted into something it's not. Like, I mean, admittedly, there's literally nothing wrong with trolling somebody, like, in the way that you did after they've asked to come onto your stream 20 times and you said no. Like, listen, RGR, if you're watching, listen, I've got no hate in my heart for you, I promise you. But, like, that's an acceptable troll. That was not like it was maybe a little bit mean-spirited, but it was pretty funny, and it wasn't,
I was
like,
mean. I can own being mean.
it wasn't,
like, I can be mean.
It wasn't, like, cruel. It wasn't, like, be over the line or anything. At least not in my opinion.
Like, again, like she was in my chat going, I am starting my stream now. If you don't show up, you're going to be a coward. You're a coward. You're this and the other thing. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, bitch, you're in my chat. Go away. I was like, I have other things to talk about. Like my drama segment extended for an hour longer than I even intended. I was ending when she showed up and started screaming in my chat and then saying, I'm going live. You have to talk to me or I'm going to say this, that, and the other thing about you. You have to show this. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have to do that. You don't get to take any more of my time. You've already been like heckling me for 9 months. You've been going after people who are associated with me because for some reason, like there's this ridiculous bias. There's this like team player shit that's going on. The thing that you mentioned where people see one side of the story first from a favorable creator, but it's on like so many sides. Have you seen ContraPoints' video about canceling by any chance?
Of course I have. Every listen, I watched that video and I frankly I've messaged her every single day since she put that one out asking for a sequel, okay? It's the most relatable video I've ever watched in the world.
Yeah. It is like I like the part that always like shouts out to me is this part where Contra is talking about how previous cancellations are used to justify future cancellations. And that's something that happens every single time that this particular group of people engages with me. Every time. So just the other day when this drama started, people were bringing up a previous fucking bullshit cancellation, which was the argument I had with Descrub King, which um people have different opinions about it, but I think the most bad you could say was that I was a little bit mean towards the end of the conversation. We had a 2.5 hour conversation, and I've gone back and timed it. Approximately an hour in, I got a little bit frustrated because I felt like he was dunking on me a little bit, and then we started dunking on each other. And then he wrote a 900 word manifesto on me, which ended with "fuck Demon Mama. Demon Mama is a danger, is a bad feminist and a danger to leftist movements or feminist movements." And I'm just like,
Yeah.
for real. And then that becomes a justification. So now whenever Riley or some other like obsessed person comes and says something about it, they go, "Don't you remember what happened then?" And they don't even, and of course that drama in and of itself, just like in the Contra video, has its own truth, like its own like actual facts that are never verified. They just go, "Oh yeah, I remember Demon Mama was evil then too. Look, she's double evil now." It's so fucked, and I hate it. It makes me so tired, you know? It makes me so
Yeah.
tired.
So this is the reason why, obviously, I chose to have you on stream first and foremost instead of Riley, and I think it's the probably the final accusation. We're gonna skip one of them here and come back
Sure,
to it,
sure.
but
Absolutely.
we're gonna go to the fourth thing that I wrote, and we'll come back to the third. That Demon Mama is a transphobe
Yeah.
because she's bad for the trans community. The argument that they're making is one that is, I'm going to say this right now. This is my opinion on it. If people think I'm being fence-sittery, here's my opinion on it. Anyone who's saying Demon Mama is transphobic is acting in bad faith. Absolutely,
Thank you.
100%, okay? Let's be clear. Just because you disagree with Demon Mama as a person, or you disagree with some of the things that she's done or the dramas that she's been a part of, okay? Just because you disagree with like her opinions on gender does not make her transphobic. Just because you believe that her opinions are bad optics does not make her transphobic, okay? I've seen that accusation going around. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Stop saying it. It makes you sound stupid. If you're going to have actual criticisms, then throw claims like that out the window, because I cannot take any of them seriously if that's one of them. The merit of that one claim is so low that it decreases the merit of every other claim made by this group, at least in
I
my eyes.
appreciate that. Like it's I really appreciate you saying that because like we analyze the root of that claim. Now, of course, there are like 100 different things now that it's been 9 months. They've found all kinds of things that they think are like evidence of this. But the core one, the one that keeps getting repeated, is that and this is the claim. If that I reviewed this in my stream yesterday, and it's going to go out in the video where we went back and actually played what was actually said by me versus what I was said to have been said by me. Riley claims that Riley has repeatedly, publicly, on video and on Twitter over the course of, I mean, many times, claimed that I said that she only cares about what she does because she's trying to justify her existence as a trans person. That is not what happened. In fact, if you go back and watch the actual video, what I said was, it was immediately after she questioned me about about my childhood and my transition, and I said, "Riley, it feels like," and I can quote this back to you, "it feels like right now what you're trying to do is look for like a justification for being trans or for trans people to be trans, and I don't think you have to do that." That's what I said. It was very specific to right. I literally said, "I think what's happening right now, this is what it feels like to me because you're questioning me on a lot of things and I don't know where we're going with this." That's it. I never said anything else. I literally in my so-called hit piece, which is what she calls my video that I did 6 days after she did multiple videos on me. She calls that a hit piece. In that video, I explicitly said I do not think that Riley is a transphobe or a trans medicalist. Like, I have been so consistent with that messaging. I do think that Riley's an assimilationist. I think that she's starting to pick up a little bit more of those trans medicalist talking points, but I still don't think that she's a trans medicalist. I still don't think that she's a transphobe. I just think that she doesn't like I just think she doesn't like me. I think she thinks I'm like a gross trans or something or bad. I mean, that's the only thing I can describe for why she would go around saying I'm bad for trans people, which it is hurtful to me. And I don't mean to be like, oh, emotions, but like that's what I devote my life to. My entire stream is
Yeah,
mostly talking about trans stuff. It's pretty
that
pretty horrible.
that that's why the DemonMama's transphobic thing sticks out as particularly bad faith to me. Like, come on, like
Yeah,
that's not
it feels very
a
mean spirited.
nobody who's acting, in my opinion, good faith could sincerely say that, okay? Maybe someone who's
Thank you.
acting in good faith can sincerely say, I disagree with DemonMama's opinion on gender, or I think DemonMama's opinion on gender is harmful to the trans community because of optics or whatever. But to extrapolate to that to, because I think your arguments would hurt the trans community, you are now a transphobe is not something I think I stand by at all, to be clear.
Yeah,
I had
I
one
mean,
more. Oh, yeah, you go
I've
ahead.
sorry, no, I don't want to take over too much, but like I just wanted to say like I have had other conversations with people who hold Riley's positions and they've gone perfectly fine. I've had them like in the immediate follow up to that. I did like a Valheim stream where like 4 or 5 people called in and we had very deep, very interesting, what I consider to be very positive discussions about gender, specifically discussing Riley's position, why I disagree with it, and also why I don't think that makes you a bad person if we disagree. I have a different view of it. I think gender is really
Yeah.
complicated. I understand why people come to different conceptualizations of it. I just have mine, you know? And I don't go around calling other people trans. I mean, I think some people reach into transphobia. Like, for example, I think the worldview on gender that, like, Matt Walsh puts forward, which is that man equals penis, woman equals vagina, that is, like, I think that is transphobic. But I've never said anything about anybody else who's just saying, like, I don't know how I feel about this particular bit. It's just something we talk about. It's philosophy for you.
Well, alrighty. I actually have one more point that I wanted to go over, just because.
Please.
Actually, oh, sorry, what?
Oh, I said please, please.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I think I might have two, because somebody mentioned this in my YouTube chat, and I just want to know what your response to it is.
Oh, absolutely.
This person says, I dislike Demon Mama because she was rude to RoseWrist, who is like the nicest little guy ever. Kind of weird to call RoseWrist a little guy, but what's the story behind that? Because from what I've seen, RoseWrist has made a pretty good document for like research.
Oh, like I don't know. Like I've always had good experiences with RoseWrist. We had a conversation recently that got like very mildly bantery, in my opinion. And then he edited up like a video afterwards that like exposed me as a liar. But I'm gonna be, if I'm completely honest, I don't think the video did a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our recent conversation, I felt was kind of silly, and I know he's like really young and whatever, and like spent like I feel like he's pretty influenced by people that don't like me in certain ways. Because like he dropped like a couple of the Hans of Harkir memes like in the conversation, which I was just
Yeah.
like dude, come on, like I came in here really super chill, and like we had a chill conversation for a while, but then it just got bantery. But I didn't think it was anything bad, and I literally said afterwards, I'm like, guys, it's just bants. Like I think he said some silly things, and I don't really agree with his positions, but I have no problem with RoseWrist. I think RoseWrist is fine. I just don't really agree with all of his positions. Some people truly cannot handle disagreement or any banter. They're willing to engage in banter, but if you engage in banter back, you're somehow bad. Yeah, I don't really have any problem with RoseWrist. We were just like it was just banter. Like first of all, I don't even know if RoseWrist has a problem with me. I know he did release like I think he released a clip that like said that like Demon Mama is a liar and this proves it, and I watched a part of that clip and I didn't find it like particularly helpful or useful, but like whatever. Like I still don't have a problem. Whatever. If he thinks I'm like a liar or whatever, well, debate about it. We'll debate again. You want to come back on, you can come back on. I don't care. So yeah, I have
Okay.
no problem with RoseWrist.
All right, interesting. So, and then the fourth, or sorry, the fifth thing that I wrote down, technically the sixth
Yeah.
thing we're going over, is a claim that you made earlier. I want to make sure like that we clarify this one, because you mentioned
Sure.
it in passing, and I think
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure that you are able to specify. So you said that
Yeah.
RGR has will like lie about things and delete the evidence afterwards. I know she has like
Yeah.
privated her Twitter and stuff like that, but do you have any examples of her doing that?
So she's not. It's not just that her Twitter is privated. She's actually wiped her Twitter multiple times. And yeah, on my stream, I went through and show. If you go, in fact, we can do it right now. If you want to show your audience, you can go right over. Let's see. You can go
Yeah,
right
if you
over
show it
to
on your
her.
stream, I can show your stream
Yeah,
on my
sure.
screen.
Um, so here we go.
Oh
I
god,
can
our
just
chats
grab
are
this.
crossing over.
Here's the original channel. Here's her original channel, which has 22.9 thousand subscribers. Wait, I don't have it up on my screen. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I don't have my camera up and working for Discord yet. But yeah. So if you can see my stream, you guys can see this. This is the RGR channel, and we all know that RGR's put out a lot of videos. But you'll notice none of the videos are here. And especially the videos that are gone are all of the ones that she had multiple, because I called this out. She deleted this after a previous re-inflaming of the drama that happened sometime over the summer, where I don't even remember exactly. I think it was the Kink at Pride fallout that like somebody was asking me, okay, like what happened, and I gave a quick rundown. And in that VOD, we go, and the videos are still here, and I was highlighting the videos, which ones were about me at the time, so that I could prove the timeline, because the timeline has been lied about. So this is a great example of it. Just Monday on Twitter, Riley was claiming that like immediately after our debate, I posted a hit piece on her, and then of course you can't tell, because you can't, like, her fans can't go to her channel and see when the original debate was, or if she put any videos out. All they can know is that I put a hit piece out, and she's claiming that it was immediate. It wasn't immediate. It was 5 days later, after she had already gone on at least four different people's streams, maybe more. Because I don't know if Avi and Ask Yourself, who were involved in that, like if they actually streamed it or not. But she was on multiple other people's streams while I said nothing. I didn't say anything on Twitter. My Twitter's not gone. All my shit's still up. So yeah, that's a great example, is her channel. But that's what I'm sort of talking about right there, is that she'll make a claim like, oh, you did this immediately after. She'll mischaracterize the way that I did things. She'll say things like, I never called, like, I mean, just last night she was insisting that she never called Doe a pedophile. But guess what? We have the video. We have the video of it
Yeah, I saw
happening.
that clip.
Guess where you can't get it? Riley's channel. You can't get it on Riley's channel because Riley has made it interestingly hard to verify her claims from her side of things. You would have to go to either my channel or to people connected to me to even get the evidence of it. So there's a lot of examples of her hiding things. And like, guys, with all due respect, I don't mean to pull a bit of a job essentialism here, but like, Riley's is aiming to be a lawyer. You don't think that Riley understands this shit? You don't think that Riley understands any of this shit? When you see an empty channel, doesn't make you go, why the fuck would somebody do that? Yeah, I don't know. Seems a little sus to me. But yeah, all of the thing is, this is the thing that frustrates me, is like, this is why it's done, right? We saw this with Trump too, right? Like, the lies become very difficult to actually debunk. So it takes me 3 hours to debunk her lying about me on Twitter, while in the meantime all of her followers have already swallowed the lie and don't give a shit anymore. So if I'm supposed to go there and and show where she's lied and whatever, I have to go do like a video where I go, hey, look, here's the lie, here's the evidence, da, da, da. But she can just fucking lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and say all these different things and claim she didn't say this and claim I said that. I mean, she was literally claiming that I said that everything that she did was because of what's it called? Was because like she wanted to justify herself yesterday. Or not yesterday, Wednesday, sorry. On Wednesday, when I streamed, she was claiming that on Twitter publicly at that time, right after I played the video that showed that I didn't say that. So the lying and the hiding of evidence thing is just out of control. And yeah, I try to do my best. I try to get the receipts out there, the evidence, but like, I don't know. Maybe we live in a post-truth world. I don't know.
Maybe we do. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I had on the docket to talk about. I gotta go pee really quick, but after that, we can...
I'll talk to your chat.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Entertain them, please.
Yeah, I'll keep
they're
them
rabid animals. They're like wild animals.
Hi, Zan Chat. Hi, Zan Chat. I hope you guys are all doing good. I hope you all are having a great day.